Happy Friday, everybody. It's happy hour. Different face there. The Professor Armando Laura has taken a bit of a sabbatical from the podcast scene. Professor, love you, miss you. Hope you're doing well. And thankfully, Evan, he introduced us. I like you're part of Spreewell was right. You and Armando go back ages. You went to college together, high school together? How far back do you two go?
College, yeah. It's undergrad
Okay.
together. Some time ago.
Yeah, exactly. We're all getting up there. UC Riverside, right? Was that the school? And one of the exactly. Look at all our regular guest panelists here. Alum of the UC system, one of the greatest educational institutions in our country and world. So respect to that. Well, while Armando's enjoying his vacation again, Evan Ball, Hollywood's.
Uh-oh. Is that me? Oh. I guess it's just me. Seems like do I have to do the opening of this show now? Welcome, everybody, to Golden Days. We're here to have some fun talk about Warriors basketball. Cyrus is dealing with, seems like maybe a power outage. So I'll hold it down. I know we have a lot of questions. I know we're going to talk about the schedule. I know we're going to talk about some comments that Lacob recently made to defend the Kuminga pick and the, what's it called? The Wiseman pick, which, you know, thoughts on both of those in perhaps different directions. And it's going to be a lot of fun today. I don't know anything about his sponsors. I know we got FanDuel in the chat or, you know, in the sponsorship. But, you know, to me, if we're just going to get started, I want to hear what you guys have to say. And I know Sai will be here in a couple of minutes. But the overwhelming feeling I have about the Warriors going into this season is all about this you kind of got to laugh to keep yourself from crying. Tells the stories of Armando being mean to me during basketball. Oh, you're funny. A lot of times, actually. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit later. There was one quick story. Because it's happened a few times in pickup. We played intramurals together for a long time, and it wasn't really that bad there. But there was a little window kind of right after we graduated. We lived together for a while, and we would go play, you know, at like 24-hour fitness or something like that. And whether we were on the same team or different team, we had, you know, he was one of those guys that would, you know, you'd go up to shoot a jumper, and he'd hit you in the stomach. And there's no joke. There were a couple times I was like, dude, if you do that again, we're gonna fight. I mean, you're my best friend, but I don't care. That shit's not okay. Stuff like that, you know. And then on offense, if we were on the same team, there was a window where he got really into like trying to work on his Euro step, but he wanted a screen for it. So no matter what was going on, it felt like he would he just, you know, point for the screen. And I'm just like, I'm open over here. You should just pass the ball. So, you know, there were times there was a little tension, but this, you know, that's my guy. You work through it, you get off the court, and you figure it out. And we've since played and had a good time. You know, same team, different teams. I'll tell you this: he's strong as hell, and he is really hard to guard. He might be twice my strength. So that's all.
Evan, I'm sorry for putting you in that position. Can you hear me? Am I okay? Am I back?
Yeah. You're back.
So I'm going to blame Chardall for this. He was spamming our chat so hard that he knocked my power out.
Oh. Uh-oh.
I'll be back. No, that's just I'm here. I'm not going to be gone again, I don't think.
Okay. Shout out to the $2.
I hope I'm here now for good. Chardall, you got to ease up on the chat, all right? You overloaded the systems. It can only handle one host at a time when our boy is going that crazy in the chat. I'm kidding. I have a That was apologies. Our internet got knocked out by I have a family member who lives on my property, and he can do just absolute dumb things sometimes, and he just accidentally knocked out all the internet, and I had to go reset it. My apologies for that. If you have parents that you're burdened with in life, I feel you on that. I feel you on that. It ain't cool, man. It ain't cool. The things you do to try to be a good person in this world. Evan Ball, what were you talking about for those 3-4 minutes while I bailed on you there?
I was starting to get into the Warriors and the tone being you got to laugh so you don't cry, and then someone was like, "Tell me stories about when Armando was mean to you during pickup basketball."
Yes,
so, I got.
You had a lot of those, right?
Well, no, I don't know about a lot.
I'm kidding.
we do have a few. But it really comes down to one of those things where you're friends for a really long time and you start playing ball, and then you're like, oh, I could get away with this, I could get away with that, etc. So there were a few times there where I felt like there were maybe some cheap shots, or there's some situations like that going on, and you had to draw some boundaries. But
any Draymond Green Netflix happening?
Yes,
just little
explicitly one of those. And I was like, if you ever do that again, I'm literally never playing basketball with you my entire life.
I was watching a stand-up the other day on I think Netflix, where the comedian, and I won't mention his name because he's a bit controversial, but I had to watch it because he is brilliant, even with his imperfections. Nobody's perfect in this world. Anyways, but he was doing a whole bit about how it's not that hard to torture men. Like there's whole movies made involving torture methodologies like waterboarding, and when all you got to do is just grab a man's testes and just barely squeeze, and you can hear a man scream like a little girl. It's that simple. We are that vulnerable, and I don't even know why I brought that up. But it's the nut flicking, because it's a simple little thing like that. Ooh, just okay. All right, take it easy. So you're saying Armando was a nut flicker, Evan?
I'm saying he did it. He did it one time, and it was I don't know if it was a habit he had. He's played a lot more basketball than me. He continues to play a lot more basketball than me. He's in better shape than I am, and like I said, he's way stronger than me. But yeah. Those that was not a pleasant memory.
I love it. Armando, hope you're doing well, brother. We miss you when he comes back. Evan, if there's any a positive to all this, is that when Armando comes back, you're going to be so ensconced on this program that we're going to have to just basically do a weekly bit. You're now a part of this. So we'll come up with a new name when that time comes. But for now, you're the substitute. You're the fill-in until we get the professor back. And on the show today, enough about frivolities here. The schedule came out, and we did not get a chance to touch on this on yesterday's program, but it matters this year. I usually don't give a shit about schedules, Evan, but this season, the way this Warriors team is set up, they're going to have to survive this first part. Mike Dunleavy Jr. himself emphasized that. We're going to play a soundbite from him from his press conference a couple days ago, where he mentioned how important a strong start to the season is going to be. I wholeheartedly agree with him. I don't know if you do, Evan. We'll hear from we'll hear your reaction to the importance of the start of the schedule. You and I will go through the first 20 games and make a prediction on what the Warriors' record will be coming out of that first quarter of the season stretch, and whether they'll be relevant by the time Jimmy Butler and Moses Moody come back, if they come back, when they come back. Joe Lacob seems confident that they are going to come back. I don't know why he's so his outlook is so positive on a 37-year-old.
Well, if size frozen,
I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Okay. Yeah. Got you.
Another glitch? Was there another glitch? I apologize.
There was another little glitch. Okay.
That was just a glitch. But what I was saying here is we're going to find out if the first quarter of the season is survivable for your Warriors, because again, Jimmy Butler, who knows when he comes back? When he comes back, a 37-year-old coming off an ACL injury. I don't care how hard of a worker he is. There are limits when it comes to your age. That's a part of life. It's a part of reality. And then Moses Moody's coming back from a torn patella tendon, maybe even more serious. I'm going to guess it is more serious than a torn ACL. Victor Oladipo never recovered from that injury. It's serious shit. And the Warriors are banking on those two contributing in the second half of the season. I'm saying good luck to that. Regardless, you got to start the season off strong. We're going to break it down. Joe Lacob also in that interview, one clip we did not play from yesterday's show were his thoughts on arguably the two most controversial draft picks by the Golden State Warriors since pretty much for this entire dynasty. 2020, the number 2 pick, and 2021, the number 7 pick. Joe Lacob had some thoughts on that. That question was brought up. We'll talk about that as well. We're powered by FanDuel. We're powered by Sunrun. Folks, click that link right there or the link in the description below. No upfront cost. $1,000 potentially in your pocket at a bare minimum $500. That's a promo they're running right now. The 1,000 comes if you recommend someone else, meaning if you're not a homeowner yourself, but you know someone who is, you simply recommend them. You get $500. They get $500. It's a hell of a promo. So we're powered by Sunrun. Check them out. We're powered by FanDuel. Evan Ball joins us. And the program, it's happy hour. Even with Evan Ball here, we're still keeping this shit.
When keeping it real goes right. Good to be real sometimes.
You got to start acting more like me and my team.
I keep it real.
Oh, we keep it real. We try to anyways. And I think everything technically is sound now. No more glitches or interruptions for me. No more putting the onus of hosting this program on Evan Ball's shoulders. Evan Ball, by the way, a Hollywood script writer. You're going to be a legend. I here's my prediction for you, Evan. There's going to come a time in the near future where suddenly you're going to be too big time for a show like this. You're going to be too big time. Even Armando, you go back 15, 20 years, going back to your college days. There's going to come a day, Armando, if he's watching this right now, where you're going to be trying to reach Evan, your old friend, and you're just going to be getting no response. You're going to be ghosted because this guy's going to be big time someday, but he's not there yet. And we're going to find out. We're gonna find out if humility is a part of your the fabric of your soul when you achieve that success. I think you're gonna be humble. I hope being
so.
Facetious.
I certainly hope so. I have no promises, but I certainly hope so. I hope I don't turn into a maniac.
And people can follow you, Evan, on Threads at Evanistics. That is your handle. Literally just how it sounds. The name Evan at Istics to it. Anything else you want to promote? I mean, you're a contributor on Spreewell is Right. What else going on with you?
Oh no, that's it right now. It's head down and pounding the keyboard time for me. So as far as promotion, that's kind of the main thing right now. Cool.
We'll take it. That's a hell of a thing to promote, man. It's again, side note, you and I were talking before we started the show. And I really wish my technical issues happened during that time frame, not right when the show started. But I digress. And again, you're a former writer on Mayor of Kingstown, Jeremy Renner's a prison dramedy, not dramedy, just a drama. Set
hard,
in a
violent drama,
a very violent, dark, but insanely entertaining drama set in a fictional town in northern Michigan. A town that's entirely sustained by the prison industry. So you can imagine what the setting of this town is like. And you were a writer on that show. You're currently pitching a new show you produced. That's what you do. And you're also from the Bay Area, correct? You're a Warriors fan.
Yeah.
Where in the Bay Area from again?
Oakland and San Jose. I moved around a lot, but those are the two main spots. Yeah.
But to give people a quick history on my background of the Bay Area, I was born in Marin, moved to the East Bay at a fairly young age. Fremont, I lived there for 5 years. Lived in Newark for 2 years. There is a Newark, California. It's the other side of the Dumbarton Bridge on the east side. Lived in San Ramon for 2 years. I did not like that place. Lived in Pleasanton for 2 years. Did not really like that place. And then I got the hell out of Dodge and started my college life, where I was spending a few years there trying to recapture a lost childhood. That's the best way I can spin it. What was your background like in the San Francisco Bay Area?
Very similar. Born in Fremont. Moved around East Bay a lot when I was like really young, kind of like Walnut Creek, Concord, all that stuff like that. Moved down to Southern California for a little bit. Then
whereabouts?
Riverside. You know, my family's in Riverside, so UC Riverside was an easy thing. Yeah, and then kind of bounce around between the city and San Jose. I was in San Jose for a long time for middle and high school. And my family moved back to Oakland. It was either like my first or second year of college. So when I went back home for a long time, it was back to Oakland. And so now between, my young childhood in the East Bay and then kind of returning back to Oakland, like that's the place that's just felt like home. Willow Glen in San Jose.
Willow Glen. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what felt like home for me for the longest time. So.
And like many
and
regions of San Ho, I imagine night and day now compared to what it was when you grew up.
Oh,
the South Bay.
World.
Yeah, the South Bay has really experienced a massive transformation over the years, largely because of Silicon Valley's influence. But there you go. That's the Evan Ball background, man.
Yeah, man. I bounced all around.
Bounced around. Was divorce at least a part of the reason for you bouncing around?
Oh, no. Divorce was later. Divorce was like well into my adulthood when my parents split. It was really just I think my parents were both pretty aggressive at trying to like move up and kind of get the next job. So my mom kind of bounced around until she settled in at Santa Clara County for a long time. She worked there. And then my dad was a teacher and a football coach. And so he was, always chasing the next school that was going to help him.
Your dad was a football coach?
Yeah, my whole life.
So how did you, are you a big football fan yourself? Or like, because I get the vibe you're much more of a hooper.
Oh, I came to basketball a little bit later. I mean, in relation, like there's literally pictures of me as an infant on my dad's shoulder on the football field. But yeah, so I played football basically my whole life. Started at Pee Wee, like junior Pee Wee when I was in like 4th or 5th grade and played all the way up. And then I started playing basketball in 6th grade. So a little bit of both. I have a more conflicted relationship with the NFL for political reasons as such. I worked on the Netflix show Colin in Black and White, got to work with Colin Kaepernick and all that. So that was, and right before that was when I was in grad school, not long before that. And I was doing kind of as my side hustle, I was doing some sports journalism. So I was writing about the Raiders and the Niners. I was doing a lot of like film room breakdown on them. As you can tell, that's just the thing I'm interested in when I'm into the sport. I want to watch the games over and over again and try to understand scheme and kind of logic and everything like that. And so, it just happened to coincide with the kind of peak era of Kaepernick's career from his ascension past Alex Smith. And then all the years basically until he got forced off the team, I had watched every play of his, 2, 3, 4 times. I had seen all the, news reports because at that point I was in the sports journalism side of the world. So when the show came around, and funny enough, they didn't know all of that. Like they got my sample about a different story, that like a story about LA gangs, and a showrunner kind of just met with me and we talked about it. And I was like, actually, you need to know all this other stuff that I know in relation to this. And so got hired onto that and worked on that show. And it was great. It was a really fun time, and Cap's a great dude. But yeah, it's hard to have a fun, loving relationship with the NFL, especially when you know the guy personally, how hard he works. Okay, so here's a real part of that story. Not that this is a podcast about me, but do you remember when the whole thing happened, when the Atlanta workout happened, when he had been out of the league for a couple years, and then suddenly it was like, NFL says we're going to host a workout for him in Atlanta? I was literally in the room with him when he got the news. So the news had broken that like Cap had planned this Atlanta workout, and I was literally sitting, he was like 2 seats next to me when he was like, I'm like, hey, do you have a workout like on Thursday? And he was like, what? And he pulls it up, and his people were scrambling. It was like, okay, well, we got to figure this out now. So like there was this whole narrative that he had tried to like set this thing up and then pull the rug out from underneath the NFL. And like I have firsthand knowledge that wasn't the case. So it was a whole thing.
That's crazy. Are you still in touch with Colin?
I haven't talked to him in a while. Every now and then, if he does something, of note that I just catch up to or whatever like that, I might like shoot him a text or a message on Instagram or something like that and get a reply. But it's it's been a while. I haven't talked with him like in a conversation for a minute. He's an incredibly busy person. Yeah.
So is that, and was your work on that Colin Kaepernick documentary? Documentaries are the right label?
No, it was a fictionalization of his childhood. So basically, he sat with us for a couple weeks and we just asked him a million questions, he told us stories and everything like that. And so we found the stories of his that we thought were kind of the most relevant to kind of thematically what we wanted to discuss about the difficulties of his life and kind of race and politics and stuff like that. And then, told our versions of those.
By the way, Julian in our chat is saying that he knows a woman who slept with Kaepernick. So I think what Julian is asking is, by knowing this person, are we Eskimo brothers? No, that you're not close enough to have any real connection there. Nice try, but anyways, that is fascinating. And so, is that where the leap came? Like you worked on that Kaepernick show, and then you got hired to write for Mayor of Kingstown?
So yes and no, right? Those are the shows in sequence as far as like what aired. But I worked on multiple things in between that didn't air for various reasons. So like one of the things people don't like understand as much, and why, when we have labor disputes and we talk about needing, not wanting all these mergers and things that go on in Hollywood, a lot of it is because there are more opportunities for shows to go in development. And then sometimes hopefully those things make it to the screen that you see. But there's a lot that has to happen before it gets to the screen. So you might do a mini room, or you might write a whole season of a show, and you might shoot a pilot. You may or may not. But all of those things are jobs that, as things consolidate, you have fewer and fewer of those opportunities to do that. So for, I don't know like the stats on it, but I would assume that for like every show that you see that happens, there may be 5 more that the pilots are purchased, multiple episodes are written. You maybe do or don't shoot the pilot and then don't make it to air. And it may even be bigger than that, but it's a lot. It's a huge whittling down process to go from, pitching a concept to actually getting it on screen. So I worked on several things in between, for other people, and also like things that I was developing myself that, for one reason or another didn't make it to like full series. But as far as from Colin in Black and White to Mayor of Kingstown, those were the like in sequence the things that like made it to the air in full length.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, and like you said, the Hollywood, there is a lot made that does not actually go on screen, unless again you're Taylor Sheridan, your former boss, who makes it very clear to anyone who wants his shows, if you want this show, there is no in between. You're giving me the money, and we're making this, and that's that. It's fascinating how just straightforward your old boss is in that aspect. There are no pilots in the Taylor Sheridan universe. No. You want this show? We're just going to make it or not. Are you going to pay me or not?
Series. Yeah, I mean, like those are the dynamics of having the far and away biggest show on television.
Yeah.
Right. And especially when you're able to hit the demographics that everyone's chasing. It's weird because on the one hand, as far as a percentage of who watches most shows, the population is on the coasts. And so it is in the big cities. So you always have like raw numbers, more people watching in those places. But the like coveted demographic is very much middle America. And I think that's a big part due to advertising and things like that, trying to get memberships to streaming and whatnot.
Right.
He's kind of proven in the last decade kind of like better than anybody at being able to capture the middle America audience. So
well, in his perspective,
like when you have that power, you're like, cool, it happens my way.
Yeah, and his perspective is interesting because, and we'll talk. We're going to jump back to Warriors here. I apologize for nerding out on script writing talk here, but his background is fascinating because he was an actor on one of my top 3 favorite shows of all time, Sons of Anarchy. And he actually did not have a script writing background or a writing background. He said he learned how to write just from reading scripts. And it makes me wonder if that's how big of an influence that show had. That Sons of Anarchy, if you folks have not seen that, it's violent, be warned, but it has a lot of dark themes to it, but damn, is it good. Damn, is it good. Did you ever see that show? Do you agree with my sentiments?
I'm currently catching up on it, which I'm like mildly embarrassed because one, working on one of Taylor's shows, but also one of my bosses from Mayor of Kingstown had also worked on that show, and I think he ran it for a couple of years too. So when I was in that interview, I was like, "Oh yeah, totally in Sons," and the way you talk about this and that, and I had to really lock in. I think I had watched like the first 5 episodes of this season to make sure I had a sense of the tone and the themes and things going on like that. But you know, it's tough. There are too many things to watch at any given time, so it's hard to keep up with
so much, man. And again, and that includes NBA basketball. That includes the Warriors. And the schedule came out, and we're going to talk about that and the start of it. And we're also going to play some sound from Joe Lacob, where he revisits the 2 most controversial draft picks of the Warriors dynasty, James Wiseman and Jonathan Kuminga. He had some interesting opinions on that. First, some love real fast to our sponsors. We start with FanDuel, the official sports book of Golden Days and the Believe Network. And Evan, one line here, which is riveting to me, and I'm going to share my screen here for the YouTube audience, for the podcast audience. We will obviously articulate all this. You could bet on whether or not a team is going to reach the 50 win mark. And some of these teams, the odds are so astronomically high. There's no point in putting money down, given how little you're going to get back. For example, OKC, the odds of them winning 50 or more this season, minus 3,000. San Antonio Spurs, the odds of them winning 50 or more, minus 2,000. But then it starts getting interesting, right? Now you have those two are such overwhelming regular season favorites in the eyes of the sports books. But then it takes a massive leap down. If you want to bet on the New York Knicks, the reigning world champions, to hit the 50 win mark this season, minus 195. It jumps from minus 2,000 for the Spurs to hit 50 wins or more to minus 195 for the Knicks. A precipitous drop off there. Boston Celtics. I'm still fascinated at the bookies giving the Celtics this much respect, given they lost Jaylen Brown. I don't know if the Celtics are going to be good or not. We'll find out clearly, but minus 140, 50 wins or higher. Side note, none of these I feel good about yet until you get to Philadelphia. I think Philly winning 50 wins or more this season is a borderline lock. The over-under for Philly is 50.5. I think betting the over on that is a lock. And that represents all the minus, all the negative odds in terms of betting 50 wins or more. Before we continue on, Evan, to read off some of these other odds, which are more favorable, any thoughts on 50 wins or more? Any of these pop out to you? Sorry, the screen that I'm showing does not
problem at all.
Display more either. There we go.
My thought on the Sixers is I'm unsure. Okay, I have thoughts on the Celtics and the Sixers, and they're both related to the same thing. Celtics, I think on paper, are definitely worse, but there's a world where just not having 2 competing alphas maybe helps just some cohesion. I just in general think the basketball that they play with Jaylen Brown while Jason Tatum's sitting is better basketball, but it doesn't matter. They chose their horse and they're going to go with it, and that creates that might create some harmony that might help them. Sixers have the opposite problem, where now they have too many alphas in the room, because now you're going to have LeBron, you have Embiid, you have Brown, and you have Maxey, and I think it's really a potential for there to be a lot of not just who's the big dog, but who's the number 2, who's the number 3, in what situations. And there can be a lot of confusion in the pecking order that I think will be semi-interesting to watch play out for the Sixers. So I understand why they're barely on the cusp of having good odds.
By the way, Shardal, making up for all the spamming early on by just delivering us all these YouTube jewels. This is a promo YouTube runs where audience members are Golden Dazers. I don't know what those jewels represent. I don't know if it's just a visual thing or if there's actually money attached to it. But Shardal, thank you for that, sincerely. And we're going to get to a lot of other chat comments. I see them all there. I'm marking the ones that we will get back to. So the positive odds, meaning for every $100 you bet, you'll get more than that coming back. Detroit at plus 105 to hit the 50 win mark. Love that. I mean, the odds aren't great, but I think Detroit to me is another lock to win 50 or more this season. Denver's an interesting one. They're a team that could be really good this season. Also wouldn't surprise me if we saw them start to kind of hit the decline button and regress. And who knows if Nikola Jokic is a Nugget lifer or if he decides after the season it's time to take my party elsewhere. Cavaliers plus 140, Timberwolves plus 155. I like that one too. Rockets plus 160, Orlando plus 250. I'm gonna read all these until we get to the Warriors. Lakers plus 250. The Heat plus 250. I don't like that. Raptors plus. Well, actually, they gotta be honest now. Maybe Raptors plus 250. Indiana plus 250. Hawks plus 360. Portland plus 480. And there you are, the Golden State Warriors. If you think they're gonna hit the 50 win mark this season, plus 600. Do any of these seem like good bets to you? Looking at this.
The Warriors only because I think the odds for the Warriors should be worse. Like plus 600 is giving them so much grace.
Yeah, so don't bet on that, right? Yeah, don't bet on that.
I feel like the Warriors should be like plus 1,200 or something.
Don't bet on that.
Like in the thousands.
Don't touch that. You're right. That should be like plus 3,000. Some of the worst ones, like at the very bottom, Memphis is plus 7,500. The Pelicans plus 7,000. Clippers plus 3,500. Mavericks plus 3,500. Wizards plus 2,500. And the Jazz are plus 1,100. I actually like the Jazz one. The Jazz could be a very good team this year. We're going to find out. But again, those are your odds courtesy of FanDuel. And on that front, I'll give some love to Sunrun in just a second, but I want to hit this schedule here, which was released. And again, normally I could give a shit because you're usually playing the same teams year after year. Where it gets a little squirrely with the numbers is the NBA Cup, because you're oftentimes paired with non-divisional opponents in the group settings. Have they released those yet, the NBA Cup groupings? Evan, have you seen that? Do you know?
I have not seen that.
Let me see NBA. Let me see if that's released. Because I think they released that as well. And the Warriors grouping this year, if my memory serves correct, yeah, they did. Okay, so is that the Warriors got into a slightly easier grouping this season. So the Warriors grouping this year for the NBA Cup. Last year it was insane. They got paired with like every like juggernaut in the Western Conference. This year it's a little easier. So the Spurs are not easy, but the other teams in the Warriors NBA Cup grouping includes the LA Lakers, who winnable. I think they're better than the Warriors, but those are winnable games. The Portland Trailblazers, Portland owned the Warriors last year, and the Sacramento Kings. So the NBA Cup got a little easier for your Golden State Warriors this season. And the reason why those NBA Cup groupings matter is because you're playing these teams one extra game. So I'll take an extra game against the Sacramento Kings. I guess that's it. But I'll take one better than none. Last year's NBA grouping was a disaster. Anyways, the schedule. Here's some caveats here. I'll read these to you real fast, Evan, and then you could tell me if anything sticks out. Last year, the Warriors had 34 national games. That number dropped by 6. This year, they have 28 national games. So what this means is less of the national broadcast crew, more Fitz and Buki. 15 back-to-backs. That's a high number. Last year, I think it was 16.
Misinformation.
What's up?
Sorry, more disinformation from Fitz and Buki.
Yeah, more exactly. Yeah, just propaganda. I mean, look, they're paid by the team. What do you expect? But at the same time, like, you know, they do that annual survey of like the best to worst NBA broadcast crews, and the Warriors are always last. Yeah, it's the criticism, I think, to a certain extent is warranted. Like, I don't hear Fitz critiquing the Warriors that much in these broadcasts. So 15 back-to-backs. Now, where it gets really squirrely is the fact that 4 of those 15 back-to-backs are going to occur in the first 16 games. and 6 of those 15 are going to be in the first 3 months. At the halfway point of the season, which is a little bit around January is usually where the midway point is. The Warriors will have 23 home games under their belt, 18 road games under their belt, 8 back-to-backs. So of those 15 back-to-backs, 8 of them in the first half of the season. First half of the season will give you more home games. Now, the downside is that the second half, you'll have a lot more road games. But the second half of the season, you hope to have Jimmy Butler and maybe Moses Moody as well. And then after the All-Star break, the Warriors will have 12 home games, 12 road games, 6 back-to-backs. Some of those compiled courtesy of Dalton Johnson. He tweeted some of those. Thank you, Dalton, for the research there. Before we go to the games themselves, Evan, any reaction to just some of those figures I mentioned?
My main reaction is to the comment of hoping that we will have Jimmy Butler back at any given time. I just don't. I have no hope for this team. This team is old and bad, and was old and bad last year, and was old and bad the year before, and they've doubled down on being old and bad. And they're any hope that is derived by these guys being remotely healthy is not a bet I would take. It's not hope that I would get excited about.
I'm with you.
And not just because, coming back from an ACL or a patella tendon or whatever is really hard, but because they still haven't changed their offense. I mean, we'll see, but I just have no anticipation that they're going to change their offense, that they're not going to overplay their old guys in minutes. But also just that, like, the likeliness of having this team at full strength, of having everybody on the same page, everybody healthy, and then them not having to go 135% to beat a bad team and immediately be beaten up for the next 5 games. It just seems like there's no world outside of that. So I think we're going to get, and we'll talk about this when we get into the opening season. I think on paper their chances are really low, but they are going to be the trap game for everybody, and they are going to try to prove to their season ticket holders that their investment was worth it. So I think they're going to try extra hard at the beginning of the season, and so they might sneak some wins that way, but it's going to hurt them. I mean, before Christmas, it'll hurt them. I wouldn't be surprised.
Big time.
Have another injury or more.
Wholeheartedly agree with you there. It's let's get into it. Let's break the schedule down. The first 20 games of the season. And the way this exercise is going to go, actually, before we do that, a couple paid chats. Look at these paid chats in August.
Let's go.
Thank you. I can't thank you enough for that. That is I'm grateful. We start with Zero Keach dropping $2, saying loving happy hour, whether it's with Armando or Evan. Look at you, Evan, just fitting in seamlessly.
That. I'll take the
I
and/or.
appreciate that too. Thank you. Yeah. Evan, good. Look at you already impressing people. Apex Sports Network, Chardal. I don't know what 200 joules means, but I thank you. I have no clue what this new promotional thing YouTube is doing is, but I love Jules who does it. So thank you. He dropped a bunch of these. I think he showed all these already. They show up as paid chats. Watch like each Jules like $50, and Chardal just spent $1,000 on the show. Chardal, thank you. Whatever that is. Thank you, brother. I'm eternally grateful. And again, subscribe to Chardal's channel, the Apex Sports Network. Money Checkup is curious to know what high school in San Jose you went to. That's not a paid chat. I accidentally highlighted that I was going to save it for the end, but let's do it now. Where'd you go to high school?
I said Willow Glen.
Willow Glen.
Yeah.
There you go. Paid chat from Julian. I think this is the same Julian in Jersey. Hope you're having a good summer, Julian. Excuse me. Who writes, have you seen the comments of Mike Dunleavy Jr. saying that they want to extend Brandon Pajemski as soon as possible and he impacts winning? I'm trying to figure out where is that winning. I'm very glad you brought this up. I've been a harsh critic of any time Steve Kerr has mentioned that phrase in association with Brandon Pajemski, saying that he impacts winning. I don't see it. I mean, if there's one player on this team in this run who does not have a ring, it's Brandon Pajemski. If there's one guy who, when he's not surrounded by Steph and Draymond and Jimmy Butler and is not producing anything, it's Brandon Podziemski. Last year, he had ample run. He was easily the leading minutes getter for this team, especially in the second half of the season when everyone else was hurt. The only teams they were beating were the worst teams. Like, the only wins they had when Brandon Podziemski was playing predominantly were wins against teams like the Nets, teams like the Kings. Like there were no wins, impressive wins when he was getting heavy minutes. I don't get that either. I'm borderline deathly afraid of how much they're going to pay this guy. The only benefit I could see out of giving him a bigger contract is maybe you use him at some point as a trade asset because you can match salaries, but then you'd also have to have interest from the other team. I don't know if other teams are that interested in Brandon Podziemski. That scares the shit out of me. Julian, I'm with you 1,000%. I don't understand how he impacts winning. I do understand how he makes Stephen Curry happy, because all he's doing out there when he's playing alongside Steph is trying to set screens for him. And I feel like that is the priority for the Golden State Warriors in 2026 is what can you do out there to make life easier for Steph? And sadly, that does not translate to a championship level team. That's my thoughts on it. Evan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I do think he impacts winning. He negatively impacts winning.
Negatively.
I think that's very clear. Yeah, dude, Pods is...
You did that so subtly, by the way. I love how mild that came in there. He absolutely impacts winning. He negatively impacts winning. And then you continue on. I'm sorry, brother. I interrupted you. That was just a gem. Go ahead.
It's okay. Look, if I'm going to try to be gracious and not just take a shit in Pod's cereal right now.
Yeah.
I think the value of Podziemski is he allows the fantasy of this Warriors team just needing to play hard and being able to win. Like, he fits into that fantasy. For all the things you said about how he facilitates the Curry, I think he's horrible on defense. I think he doesn't draw any attention from defenders on offense, and I think it actually harms Curry. But, he's quick to go screen for him. He's quick to pass on the ball.
Yep.
He's quick to shoot the three that Steve Kerr wants him to shoot off of, like a Curry kick, or if they're triple teaming Curry. But I don't think he actually does things that give them a better chance to win. I think he very consistently, whether it's his turnovers, whether it's being lost on defense, whether it's being a complete traffic cone on defense, whether it's dribbling the ball into a bigger guy, picking up his dribble, and then needed to panic pass out. I think he's not a very good basketball player. He probably doesn't belong in the league. And I also hope the Warriors give him $30 million a year.
30.
Just triple down on it. Like, at this point, like, what are we doing? It's the gap year. Why not? Like, just tell us how great Pods is. His new haircut looks fantastic. He's the most handsome person on the team. I hope he dates your daughter. Right? He's a really good guy. We're going to give him $30 million. He impacts winning. He's just the best thing. He's the best thing. Oh my God. Brandon Podziemski. Aren't you so happy you bought your season tickets to see Brandon Podziemski play 36 minutes a game? Come on.
The only positive from Pods I've seen this summer is the haircut. I sign off on that. I'm happy that I cannot call you Sideshow Bob anymore, because that haircut was insane. It literally was a clone copy of Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons. A relief that's out of the picture. I don't know if it's going to impact basketball at all, but at least aesthetically, it's going to be a slightly more pleasing product to watch. Look, someone I think astutely said it best in the chat. Leppy 81818 writes, I was doing a brain teaser in which NBA team besides the Warriors would Brandon Podziemski actually start for. Couldn't find one. Yeah, and I would not be able to either. I don't think Brandon Podziemski starts for any team in the NBA. I think certain teams, maybe he's like a in the 10 to 14 range in terms of the end of the bench, right? 10 through 15. But he's the value the Warriors put on him versus what any other team would. To me, that is the epitome of the Steve Kerr experience. He values the most random, weird guys. And ultimately, I do think it's because, again, he's out there trying to make life easier for Steph. And he is a hustle guy. The durability is the one real thing we could talk about that I do genuinely like about this kid. He's physical. Yeah, durability. He's a physical dude.
No. I'm not saying he's physical. I'm saying he's physically durable, not mentally durable.
He's fair. I was only going to agree with the physical thing because I was thinking, and again, this is maybe a very poor way of highlighting Podziemski, but if you gave me a comparison between Brandon Podziemski and Ty Jerome, and you asked me who would you take, I'm taking Podziemski because at least Podziemski can get some boards. He can battle inside. I don't think the ball handling is that much different between the two. Ty Jerome just brought nothing to the table. At least Brandon Podziemski, besides durability, is a little physical inside. He's getting boards, and at least he's not afraid to take a shot to the face or whatever. But that's where it ends. That's where I can't praise him much more. More jewels coming in from Chardall, by the way. Look at all these jewels you're dropping here. There's some names. One says 10 jewels hiding. Where are you hiding, Chardall? 30 jewels flower. I have no clue what this stuff means, but I'll take it. All right. So those were our pay chats. Let's get into it. Schedule. The Warriors season starts. Do I have this correct? Hold on. Let me reset my screen here. I'm on the NBA.com website, and I thought their display would be a lot better than this. Here we go. Okay, so the season starts, and here I'll share my screen so we can all follow along. And Evan, you and I are going to go through the first 20 games, and I'll keep note as we're doing this. So you and I can both project what the Warriors' record will be when these 20 games are up, right? And again, Julian, thank you for the paid chat. I hope we touched on Brandon Podziemski enough. I agree. I just one last thought on the Brandon Podziemski front. I don't understand why they even need to give him an extension right now. Just let him play out the rookie deal. Like Brandon Podziemski is entering year 4 of his deal. They let Jonathan Kuminga go into year 4 of his deal without anything awaiting the end. The worst case scenario for Brandon Podziemski is if you don't give him an extension this offseason, let him play out his rookie deal, have the negotiation next summer, right? Let him be a restricted free agent. See what the market dictates. That's how you treated Jonathan Kuminga. Why not give Brandon Podziemski the same treatment? And one last note, Guy Santos, who I personally value much more than Brandon Podziemski. I think Guy Santos does a hell of a lot more for your team than Brandon Podziemski does. He makes $5 million a year. 5. Why is Podziemski worth anything more than that? Evan, any thoughts? Any reaction?
He's worth less than that, man. I don't know what to tell you, man. But it's social reasons, man. It's. I mean, we've gone over this a bunch of times. It's Kerr likes him. That's why he's worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
Kerr likes him, and Curry likes him, and he, doesn't ruffle any feathers with the team, and you care about the team having some kind of happy locker room where no one is remotely challenging what's going on as far as scheme or pecking order or anything. Yeah, Pods is your guy. Why not?
Julian dropping another $2. Julian, I hope you're not I know it's Friday. What my concern here is that you're drinking and donating. I don't want you to spend more than you have, brother. I love you. Thank you for the support. Just make sure you keep your spending in check. I don't want you to be hammered drunk going, I love these guys, let's just give them money. I love you too, but watch your spending is all I'm asking. Julian dropping $2 more saying coaching is about values. That's why Brandon Podziemski is going to get an extension. Yeah, and just like what you're just basically putting in different words what Evan just said. It's all about what Steve Kerr wants. Brandon Podziemski is a Steve Kerr guy. And Visible D adds to that as well. Julian, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. All right, let's go through these first 20 games. And again, you and I are going to dictate from this, and if in chat, you can clearly play along. We'll read everything you say. Maybe you can influence certain games where Evan and I might disagree in terms of whether or not it's going to be a win or a loss. But the season begins on Wednesday, October 21st. Side note, the season will not begin for the Warriors in terms of a national, thoroughfare of sorts. They're not getting the marquee games. Like the Warriors, again, they lost 6 national games. The Warriors opening night is not going to be when the NBA's opening night is. Warriors opening night is going to be Wednesday, October 21st. And let me share the screen. So for YouTube, you can follow along. Let me see if I can zoom in a little more, see if that makes a difference. Oh, it does. All right. Oh, even better. Okay. Can I go one more? Oh, I can. All right. Okay.
We might have to ban somebody. I don't know what this comment about Jewishness is, but double check it.
Yeah, let's do. Yeah, I'm gonna friendly reminder: no hate speech in our chat. All right, no hate speech, and just don't bring the host's name into the conversation. If you disagree with anything we say, that's fine. I don't give a shit. But the moment you start personally attacking one of us, it becomes a distraction. Just it's no good for the show unless you appreciate me just going off. But I know some of you sick Fs out there do actually get your rocks off. Actually, you're not sick. I used to do the exact same thing to radio hosts when I was in high school. The great Pete Franklin, I'd always call in and try to make him flush me. That was his infamous sound effect. If a caller pissed him off, he was like, "You're an idiot. You're a schmuck." And then you'd hear this toilet flush sound effect. And when I was in high school, we'd be cackling if Pete Franklin did that to us. All we're trying to say, though, is if you don't want to get repercussions in terms of access to our chat, keep the hate speech out. And Evan, thank you for pointing that out. Did I get all of it?
Yeah. It seems fine. If I was wrong, someone can correct me. I just saw.
No, you were good. No, I saw it. It was just it crossed the line. Just keep ethnicities out. Keep religions out. Keep genders out. Don't be an ageist. Is that all the different demographics? Did I miss any?
Yeah. Talk basketball shit.
Talk basketball. Just talk basketball.
That's all it is.
Bottom line. So the season starts Warriors Lakers. There is no line for this currently. I did look it up. But they're going to be in LA at crypto.com. I'm going to predict a hard L. Evan, what do you think?
Yeah, I with the new look of the Lakers, I sometimes forget it's not Grand Wizard Arena, but we'll call it crypto for now. Yeah, I think.
Is that a comment referencing Kushner?
It was referencing a few things. We got to change the tide over there in Laker land, and we'll see. We'll see how clan they feel as the season goes forward. But yeah, dude, they're gonna lose. The Warriors are gonna lose to the Lakers. We'll see if that's a Kuminga Lakers or a Kuminga-less Lakers. But yeah, I don't see them winning that game.
Side note on that front, if you're the LA Lakers, what the hell? Unless the Atlanta Hawks are the ones who are playing hardball here, because and we'll get more into the Kuminga thing in a second, but he's still a free agent, and I think a large part of it is you have these restricted free agents in Peyton Watson, Jalen Duren. You still have other free agents in general, like Bruce Brown, DeMar DeRozan. Side note, Evan, quick here, you're not the only I got a bunch of texts on my phone this morning from people like say exactly like what she's there, like DeMar DeRozan ? Like DeMar DeRozan, what? And I'm like, well, and every time people send me that, I'm looking online on socials, I can't find a thing. And then I get a follow-up text from those folks, and I got one from you too, going, oh yeah, it was like either a parody account or Shams dropped that and deleted it. Where did you see that? Because you weren't the only one who saw something on the socials today that indicated DeMar DeRozan was signing with the Warriors.
I mean, look, I was in the middle of scrolling. I don't know if it was Twitter or Threads. I'm rarely on Twitter, so it may have been Threads. I don't know. But I definitely saw a Shams breaking. Golden State Warriors are signing DeMar DeRozan to 2 years for whatever, kind of vet minimum or whatever it was. But yeah, it was gone. Like as soon as I went back to search for it, because I looked at it and I was like, this is some bullshit. And I looked and I saw it was Shams, and then I kind of went on with my life. And I thought about it, 20 minutes later or whatever. And then I looked back for it and I couldn't find it. And that makes me think Shams posted and deleted it, because if it was a parody account, then it would probably still be up. But maybe it could be anything. I didn't see it on the fake Shams account either. So
who knows? But again, you're not the only one, because I was getting text all morning and I couldn't find anything myself. But DeMar DeRozan not with the Warriors, it would shock me if that happened. I do not see DeMar DeRozan signing with the Warriors. I would love it personally. Would you love that move? I would. Would you sign off on DeMar DeRozan to the Warriors?
I mean, I like DeRozan. I don't think it moves the needle in any kind of meaningful way for the Warriors. I do think it it makes selling the grift of the Warriors gap year and just come watch the vibes and watch Steph Curry be great, and please don't, get rid of your season tickets. I think that makes that sell better because you have more names that casual basketball players are going to recognize, or basketball fans. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean that suddenly they're going to have like a good playoff run or anything like that.
Right.
Even that here's where I could going to make it. Yeah.
Here's where, if that hypothetically happened, and again, I don't think there's a chance in hell, but if DeMar DeRozan signs with the Warriors, where it could be a huge positive is if his minutes take away Podziemski minutes. Suddenly, at a bare minimum, the product we're watching is a hell of a lot more entertaining. But I don't think there's a chance in hell it's happening. Who knows? The speaker says in her chat saying that it was a parody account who published that. Julian dropping another $10 in her chat. Again, nice. Julian, if you're hammered drunk right now, I know it's Friday. I get it. And the weather is, for at least some of us, it's starting to become nice here. The heat waves are starting to move past as we see fall in the horizon. But I just don't want you to be drunk, not drunk dialing, drunk chatting, drunk donating, however you want to, the proper phrasing of that is, writing, have we seen Draymond Green? Oh, and I don't screen these. I just read them as you submit them. Julian writing, have we seen Draymond Green in his bowling shirts looking out of shape judging Dunk Fest and constantly looking drunk on his podcast? Warriors 1-9 in the first 10 games. I have not seen the Charlie Harper bowling shirts on Draymond Green. That's Evan, funny. Have you seen this?
No, but okay. So here's a comment. Here's a comment. There are a few things. There are a few things I have. A few things a few types of things I follow. I follow some sports journalists. I follow some players. And I occasionally follow some kind of like I forget what they're called, but basically the guys who train the athletes, right? Whether it's team players or like
the Antwells of the world,
trainers. Yeah. And one of the guys was saying that, especially for pro athletes who have like a huge demanding season and whatnot, a lot of times what they do is they stay like 2 to 3 weeks away from being in shape when it's in the off season. So they might do like minimal workout. And then as they ramp up, they know like, hey, I got to get in shape at this date. So, they might let it loose. They might party. And, that might be the difference between, some of the hardest workers and some of your like regular athletes. But it's not surprising to see somebody who's like 36, 37, who knows he's at the end of his career, who's transitioning into his media career, like let loose and have a good time over the summer. The whole team is telling us we're having a gap year. The whole team is telling us this season doesn't matter. They're trying to spin a narrative that like, don't worry, this season is going to be bad because it's going to be way better next year. It's like Elon Musk being like, oh yeah, we're definitely going to Mars in 2026, 2028, whatever it is. It's totally happening. Invest in it right now. This is for real. I promise you this is for real. Okay. So yeah, it's your gap year, man. Just enjoy.
And again, James Harden is the poster child of the letting loose in the summer. I still am in admiration of Harden for the fact that he can gain and lose weight so fast like that. I don't think it's healthy, but his metabolism, that's how it rolls, man. Like he parties and then he's the guy who just at 6 a.m. is up and ready to work out, even if he was up till 3 a.m. Downing tequila shots and doing whatever else. It's incredible. It's remarkable. Draymond Green, not necessarily known for losing weight that fast. Usually he's more like the Shaquille O'Neal regimen, where Shaq, especially in the later years, it got really difficult for him to lose the weight as the season went along. Like he could pull that off in his 20s and early 30s, but by late 30s, the fat stays.
It's like, yeah, this is me now.
And then injuries follow suit. At least Draymond Green has been durable. I give him a lot of credit for that. He has not been riddled with injuries in his career. We'll find out if that continues. But so Draymond Green apparently rolling around with bowling shirts, playing the part of Charlie Harper from 2.5 Men. The only character I know in TV and film who can pull off bowler shirts and look good in the process. Draymond Green is trying to do the same.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
You got to experiment with your style.
Good for him. Julian following up his $10 donation with your jump shot does not improve. If you take 3 months off, your layup timing doesn't improve. Your handles don't improve. Draymond just going to be running and bumping. Yeah, pretty much, I guess. But what are you going to do? As Evan, you said eloquently, it's a gap year. Who gives a shit? What's the point? What's the point of trying if it's a gap year? All right. So bowler shirts, man. That is comedy. Do you own any bowler shirts in your closet, Evan? Because I don't.
The closest I have is like a Cuban inspired button up that's like a dry cleaning right now. But it's not close to a bowling shirt.
I like that. All right. So
a bowler.
All right. So we go back to the schedule here. So the Warriors are 0-1 after losing to the Lakers. Oh, and I wanted to finish on this note with that one game. If you're the Lakers, man, just stop whatever is holding up you guys acquiring. And again, I don't give a shit about the Lakers. I'm not rooting for them. This is just me kind of thinking as a GM, I guess. Like, what's the holdup here with Kuminga? Like, and my theory is, and there have been some reports leaking out that seems to substantiate this report, which is that what Kuminga wants money-wise, in order for him to get that from the Lakers, it would have to be a sign and trade. Atlanta does not want to just bring back contracts. I don't even know if they can, given how many guaranteed contracts they currently have on the books. They don't want to get into the Jarrett Vanderbilt business, which is likely the piece that the Lakers would have to send out to make the sign and trade happen. So what I imagine is needed here is a third team to make this go. If you're the Lakers, get off your ass and find that third team. I mean, Jarrett Vanderbilt is not a scrub. I imagine there is a team out there who could use him so you can make a 3-team trade possible and get Kuminga on your squad. I could give two shits about the LA Lakers. If you don't get Kuminga, all that does is hurt your team. So don't get him. Fine. Be an idiot. But if you want your team to be considerably better than what it is now, if you want your team to not be one shade of white for your starting five, which, side note, in NBA basketball, I don't know if that's a good look. Make the deal. I don't know what the holdup is here. Evan, what are your thoughts on the Lakers? A team that's been linked by Shams Charania himself to the LA Lakers and Kuminga. But again, something tells me the Hawks are part of the reason why this is being held up, because if Kuminga if Kuminga is going to get the money that he wants, a sign and trade is going to have to be facilitated for him to get that 20 mil or close to that. And I don't know if the Lakers are struggling finding a third team. I don't know if the Hawks are just putting their foot down, saying no to these sign and trade deals. What are you hearing and what are you thinking about Kuminga this offseason?
Yeah, it sounds like it's just a mix. It sounds like Kuminga probably wants to be fairly valued, but isn't screaming for all the money, right? I think there's a narrative out there that like Kuminga is demanding something absurd, and I just there's no evidence that that's the case. But you do have a mix of the narrative on Kuminga is rough, and that's just a thing you have to contend with coming out of Golden State, and the fact that the Hawks, even though he was clearly their best player throughout the playoffs, did not immediately re-up him. So he's fighting against that, and nobody has the kind of cap space they want this year. So if you have it's not like there are 4 teams with huge cap space who are dying for Kuminga. You got a few teams, it sounds like it's Kings, Minnesota, Lakers, Cavs that want him for a role. They have most of their team set. They all think they could lowball him. And you have the Hawks, who are very specific about what they want back. And sometimes that's nothing. Sometimes that's, a player that they think is going to fit in their system that they clearly seem to be designing around Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jalen Johnson. And that's just that's a lot of things to contend with. And if the Hawks aren't just going to be like, cool, man, like whatever works for you, we can figure it out on our end because we can get rid of people, we can cut contracts, whatever, then yeah, that's how you get these stalemates.
One thing to add here, Ronald McPaul in the chat. I'm not going to read what the other thing he wrote, but I did show it because it's funny. But Ronald McPaul writes, it could be Aaron Turner look, here is my 2 cents on the Aaron Turner aspect of this, as someone who knows Aaron, Aaron's been on the show multiple times. And I've developed a relationship with him and JK. One thing about Aaron, though, that I kept hearing in our conversations off the air that was a little like, I don't know if concerning is the right word, but it was certainly eyebrow raising. Because I'd keep bringing up with Aaron Turner, what about the Kings? That's a team that it seems clearly wants him. Like why are you not facilitating? Excuse me, I'm gagging on phlegm here. Why are you not like making that happen? And the vibe I got from Aaron is he's not pushing hard to help facilitate like 3-team trades. He's not pushing hard to help trades happen in general. Because what he told me is like he was not in contact with the Kings in terms of like them maybe lighting a fire under them. And I don't know if that's by design. I don't know if Aaron is just, not aggressive on that front, but he's not the type who is calling other teams going, like, for example, if it's required to have a third team involved to make a sign and trade possible with Kuminga and the Hawks and whoever that third team is, let's say the Lakers, and you got to get a third team still. Aaron Turner has not been the type of individual who is like on the phone hammering, let's say the Bucks or let's say the Pelicans, whoever that third team is, to make this happen. And I don't know if he's resting on his laurels. I don't know if it's by design, if he's reading the room and just doesn't think it's necessary. But I would say as a constructive critique of Aaron Turner, maybe he could be more proactive in terms of getting these other teams involved to facilitate this process. That's just the vibe I got. And who the hell knows if that's actually real or not. But it was a little surprising to me when I bring that stuff up with him and he'd go, yeah, well, I haven't talked to him. Like that. Like, yeah, I remember like last offseason when Kuminga and the Warriors had this 3-month stalemate. And I'd reach out to, and Aaron and I would have these like hours long phone conversations. It was crazy. And one of the things I brought up with him was, what about the Kings, man? I mean, every report out there says that they want Kuminga. Why are you not getting them to maybe make an offer? And he was like, oh, I don't know. They just, maybe I should, maybe. And I'm hearing these answers going, dude, like if I was you, I'd be on the phone with like every team, like, trying to make shit happen. And that's not what I was hearing from him in terms of his activity. Am I making sense? Anything you want to add to that, Evan?
Yeah, that's something like that would be a little concerning to hear.
Yeah,
I don't know how much sway or power Aaron Turner has in relation to like the big agents in the league and whatnot. Like it's clear Kuminga's talking with a lot of teams pretty regularly, and that players have actively reached out trying to recruit him. So it's not that there's no interest. It's not that there aren't talks happening. As far as trying to get a third team in there, I don't know anything about that. I haven't seen the reports on that, so I don't know either way. But yeah, I mean, if I was hearing from somebody's agent that they were kind of like, I don't know, we'll just see. Either they have something up their sleeve, and they're just being coy about it, or they don't, and they're being coy about it. Either one is that does sound like a little bit of a weird response.
It was. That's exactly how he felt. And then you have folks like Godzilla the Creator in the chat saying nobody thinks Kuminga's worth that money. We can agree to disagree, but this also, I think, leads to just how huge of a negative impact Steve Kerr's actions have had on Kuminga. Like just by Steve Kerr deciding that he's not good enough to play with my team, I'm going to DNP him for a month at a time. This to me is still the crux of why I have a negative opinion on Kerr in general. To just be so obtuse that you don't understand how good this guy is and how negative your actions are impacting him. Side note, Kuminga's life has been rattled because of this one dude. Imagine if he had any other coach who just actually invested in him, where he'd be today. If I'm Kuminga, I'm so bitter at Kerr, but this is a Kerr factor. Just by Steve Kerr deciding, I don't know if I like this guy, completely damaged his reputation. Kuminga's damaged his value. The ramifications are insane when it comes to the cult of personality with Kerr.
he's definitely cost Kuminga several millions of dollars and
hundreds of millions. Hundreds.
Bro.
when
you people always forget that all this stuff came from times when there would the cycle would always happen like this. It would be Kuminga's not playing for some amount of time, nobody understands it. At some point, NBA media, Warriors media would finally be like, hey, have you maybe considered playing Kuminga here? They would play Kuminga 9 times out of 10. He would do really well, as soon as he got like a real stretch of going of decent minutes. And then Kerr would find a way to bench him. And as soon as he does, he has to have a narrative for it. And look, the world is storytelling. That's something I believe.
You're right.
You got to do that. That's how you attribute value to people and to decisions. And when you can't explain it in meaningful basketball terms, when it's like, hey, our defense is clearly better, hey, we have multiple scoring threats, whatever, and you can't say that, and you got to be like, oh, he looked off Steph Curry once, or I just don't know if he's the right fit, right? Like the whole conversation of fit was a concept that he fell back on and made up and then just like hammered down on, because there was a point when the NBA media was like, hey, it seems like he was doing well and then he stopped playing, and that was kind of unexplainable. So what is it? And he would just be like, oh, I'm not sure he's a good fit with everybody. And then everybody just like, oh, that's it. And kind of ran with it. But it was the concept of fit was a way to avoid talking about it in clear basketball terms. I have you muted right now. If you're
no, you're right. Sorry. The same person followed up in the chat writing that teams don't want to pay Kuminga because he has no experience. Yet it's Kerr's fault. Why do you think he has no experience? He's been in the league for 5 years, and you're right. He has not played much. Who do you think is entirely responsible for that? Who do you think controlled the minutes all those years? I don't understand how that simple concept that the head coach decides who plays and how much goes over so many people's heads. Like Godzilla the creator, this is a gaslight to me. Like writing that to me is a gaslight, because it's so obvious that one person is controlling the minutes, yet you're going to pretend that has nothing to do with Kuminga's experience. Are you out of your mind? It just, again, ultimately comes down to, if you're a Steve Kerr apologist, if you actually value this guy and trust him, you're just going to roll along with his decisions. And as you mentioned, Evan, like perception is reality. And so by Kerr benching Kuminga, the perception then is, oh, something must be wrong with Kuminga for Steve Kerr to bench him, right? That is the perception. May not be true. I don't think it's true, but that's the perception. And so many people, so many people still buy into that. Ezelbio in our chat says Kuminga doesn't pass the ball. Says who? The assist numbers don't agree with that. Not to mention, I have a million memories of him playmaking. I don't buy that at all. That is a ridiculous opinion. Look, if Kuminga has a mindset that he's as good as, like, let's say, a Michael Jordan, he said he wants to be the next Kobe Bryant. What's wrong with that? Why is that a negative? I would love to have a player on my team with his talent aspiring to be a 5-time champion. What is wrong with that? And I'm guessing that the pushback is, well, Steve Kerr's system is team-oriented and you're one of 5 guys. Well, Kevin Durant fits that type of player, and the Warriors were fine. We're fine having Kevin Durant on their team. It's insane. We can go on that forever, but let's finish up with the schedule here. This show's going way longer than anticipated. I just saw you look at your clock. I'm sorry. Let's go through the schedule.
No, we're okay.
All right, first 20 games. I don't know, but the show's been, I didn't realize we're already over an hour here. So we're 0-1. Warriors are 0-1. Warriors, Lakers. The second game of the season, winnable. The Warriors home opener, Friday, October 23rd. They host the Grizzlies. I think they can win that game. Yaxel Lendeborg himself proved he can beat Memphis' best player in the Summer League Championship. And side note, Yaxel. So 1-1? Agreed?
Sure, 1-1.
Okay, we'll be off to this. Warriors.
Yeah. I'm with you. 1-1.
Warriors at the Suns, 1-2. Your thoughts?
Yeah, they lose. Warriors lose.
Warriors at the Nuggets, 1-3. Your thoughts?
Okay, if we want to cut to the chase here, I think they lose Suns, Nuggets, Timberwolves, and Lakers again. But the problem is you probably win one of those games because it's a trap game or because they play extra hard, right? Like just statistical variation. They probably get a win out of these next 4 games.
We'll factor that in, right? And truth is, it evens out. You'll see what I mean in just a second if we go one by one here. So Warriors lose to the Lakers season opener, 0-1. They beat the Grizzlies at home in their home opener, 1-1. They lose at Phoenix, 1-2. They lose at Denver, 1-3. They lose at Minnesota, 1-4. Now the NBA Cup starts. Why is my schedule stopped? Those going by month by month. Then the NBA Cup starts. The Warriors host the Lakers. And this is where, if you want to factor in like a trap game, for example, and if you want to try to be pragmatic about this, let's give the Warriors a win here. I think they could beat LA at home. Would you agree with that, Evan? What are your thoughts there?
Okay, so if we're gonna factor in the trap game, I think then yes, they beat the Lakers, then lose to the Clippers.
Okay, we'll jump ahead here. Okay, so at this point, 6 games into the season, that wraps up October. Evan, you and I think we're on the same page, predicting 2-4 for the Warriors, right?
2-4, yeah.
They win 2 of their 6. Could be worse. They could be 1-7. Maybe a slight optimism there. All right, we jump ahead to November. Let's just show all the months. What am I doing here? Okay, there we go. So November 1st. There is no October 31st, right? So that's a back-to-back.
No, yeah. 30.
So they're going to lose one of these 2.
Yeah. I think they're going to lose both.
They might lose both. All right, 2-7 or 3-6? What are we going with here at this point?
2-7, man.
Okay, 2-7. So they get a split of these 2 games here. So 2-7, because the Warriors then, after that Lakers game, host the Clippers at home. You know what? I'm going to be friendly. I'll give the Warriors wins in both of these, Evan. We could have different final records.
That is friendly, yeah.
I'm going to give them a split on one of these 2. Is that what we did already? No. I'm going to say they win both.
Well, they're both said home they games. Win Lakers. I'm saying they're going to win Lakers and then lose against the Clippers.
Okay, so you're now at 2-7. I'm at 3-6. I think they could actually win these 2 games. We continue on. Warriors host the Suns. I'm going to say loss. What do you think?
Loss.
Okay, so 3-7, 2-8.
2-8.
So through the first 10 games of the season, you have the Warriors at 2-8. I have them at 3-7.
Yes.
Now we go through the second 10. We're going to do the first 20 total to start the show. The Warriors host Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Miami Heat. I don't think the Warriors win that game, even though it's a home game. I think Miami's going to be pretty good this year. I say Miami. What do you say?
Yeah, Miami wins that.
Okay, so 2-9, 3-7. I don't think the Warriors beat the Magic. The Orlando's going to be good this year. I say loss there. What do you say?
I say loss there too.
Okay, so 2-10, 3-9. We got to win. Warriors hosting the Pelicans. I think they can win that game. What do you think, Evan?
I'll give you that. I think that's a good shot.
All right, so
I think we're gonna get to it, but yeah, I think they're gonna split that. I think they'll lose the away game when we get to it.
So that makes the Warriors in my book are now 4-9, in your book 3-10. The Warriors then start a Texas road trip. Eek! They're at Houston. I'm going to say loss because Houston has their point guards back. They are still a good team, even though they're not that good, but they're better than the Warriors. I'm going to say Warriors loss. What do you say?
Loss.
So
Spurs
4-10, 3-11. Definitely losing to the Spurs. I don't care what happened last year. That is not going to get replicated. Loss, right?
Yep, loss.
Okay, so
because Wemby's going to play this season angry. I hope he finds a little more zen. I think he kind of lost his head a little bit in the finals there. but I know he feels like he tasted it. He had a shot at a championship. He feels it, and he's gonna be fighting all season.
I agree.
He might go too hard, and he's got to be careful about that.
We're going to have a vengeful Wemby this coming season. You're absolutely right. All right. So in my book, Warriors are 4-10. Your book, 3-11. I think they get a win here on their road trip. They're at New Orleans. What do you think?
I think that's a loss.
Loss. Okay. So Warriors are 3-13 in your book, 5-11 in my book.
Yes.
A little surprised. I'm more optimistic than you are on this. I like it though. I like it. And now comes some winnable games. Warriors at the Mavericks. I think the Warriors lose this game. That's just me. I think people are sleeping on a Mavericks team that has a surprisingly large amount of talent. I think Cooper Flagg is going to take a leap in year 2. This is also the team that got Yaxel's teammate from Michigan, who Yaxel learned in summer league he can't bully. Merez Johnson, is that his name? I'm going to say that's a Mavericks win. What do you say?
Yeah, I think that's a Mavs win too.
So in your book, the Warriors are now 3-14. In my book, they're 5-12. 3 games to go. Warriors at Memphis. I think the Warriors can win this one. This will be one of the rare road wins of the season. What do you think?
I think they win this one too.
Okay, so the Warriors are now 4-14 in your book, 6-12 in my book. Then the Warriors go back home on Sunday, November 22nd to host the Boston Celtics. I don't think there's a chance in hell the Warriors win that game. So what do you think, Evan? Win or loss?
Okay, so here's where I'm getting crazy.
Okay.
We have 2 more games.
Let's get nuts. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Wait, are we still in the cup right now?
The cup comes and goes. The next game after this will be the cup.
Okay.
I think the cup last year was like every Friday, or it was like 2 days a week they dedicated to cup games. It was like Fridays and Sundays or something like that.
I'm split on my decision for these last 2 games. I think there's a chance that a Celtics trap game in San Francisco Warriors win.
Ooh,
I think there's just a shot that happens.
Okay.
And I think coming off of a few losses, coming back home, busting their ass, going 120% while the Celtics are not paying attention and aren't scouting the Warriors because they're looking past them. But I think if that's the case, then they have a tougher Sacramento Kings game. So I guess my answer is I think the last 2 games they go 1-1. I don't know which order it is. I know there's enough space between them for rest, right? There's 3 days between, but there's not. But we got an old ass team, man. like they worked really hard for 1 game and then they gotta rest for like a week and a half. So it's hard to act like 3 days is just enough. They have to do superhuman effort to get wins. So we'll see. But
all right. So you say win here. I say loss. So in your book, the Warriors are now 5-14. In my book, they're 5-14. In my book, they're 6-13. And then we wrap it up. The 20th game. Is that right? Is my math correct?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Final game, and we'll stop here. And it's an NBA Cup game at home, hosting the Sacramento Kings. I'm going to say it's a win. What do you think?
So this is where I'm going to say a loss. I think
because of the trap game theory again, right?
The trap game, yeah. We'll see. I mean, who knows? We're just throwing stuff in the air. But I do think, when they're going to win, I would expect when they have to work really hard to win trap games against a tougher team, that you can expect the fatigue to really hurt them over the next several games, and that allows options for them to lose against teams that they should beat.
So Armando and I, when we did this exercise, we had the same result, even though like not all the games we agreed with. At the end, it evened out. So through the first 20 games from this exercise, you and I, Evan, both predict the Golden State Warriors are going to be 6-14 after the first 20 games.
I think I'm 5-15.
No, 6, because you predicted that the Warriors would beat.
Oh, because we switched one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because we switched those end ones. Yeah. I think the Warriors will beat Sacramento. You don't. Wait, is it 5 and 15?
I think I'm.
No, I got 6. I definitely have 6. So maybe I'm 6 and 14. You're 5 and 15.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it comes.
Either way, it's not looking good.
Either way, it's not good. Either way, it's not good. No, not a good.
And frankly, I think, look, if there's any part of the season that I would take the over on, not like the real over, right, but the over on our predictions, it would be this beginning of the season, because I do think, again, they have a tendency to try to prove to the fan base that they're for real and that there's hope, and buy tickets, buy merch, and they're gonna go super hard. I think there's a shot that maybe they sneak out 6 wins here or something like that. Like I don't know. I think it's tough, and I think there are opportunities for trap games against teams who think they're obviously better and might be looking past them, but it'll be tough. Not a lot of optimism going into the gap year.
Yeah, and I think Molly Mall in the chat said it best. Either way, couple of other chats to get to here. Solo Dolo writes that Kuminga is not that guy. Yaxel looks better and smarter than him. Friendly reminder: Yaxel Lendeborg is currently older than Jonathan Kuminga. So the last 5 years that Kuminga has been in the NBA, Yaxel has been playing college and developing. There's a good reason why Yaxel looks more polished, because he's older and he's been actually playing the last 5 years, while Kuminga's just been sitting on his ass.
I'm actually going to push back on that.
You will push back on that.
I will push back on that.
Okay.
It's not clear to me that Yaxel is smarter than Kuminga. I think, again,
fair.
I think Kuminga's basketball IQ is heavily underrated. I think we've seen him spend a lot of time on defense, cover for really bad defenders, and try to physically help get people in positions that they're not supposed to be, or that they're supposed to be in when they're not there. We saw that on the Warriors. We saw that on the Hawks. Same thing on offense. There are literal plays. There are clips, you can find them, of Kuminga telling Curry, "Hey, you're supposed to be here on this play," on Steve Kerr's called play. Like, you can see that. And I'm not saying he's smarter than Curry. I'm not saying all that. Let's not get crazy. I know people are going to be like, "Oh my God, you're out of control." But I am saying
you are out of control, man.
Part of the kind of like quiet dog whistle.
You're crazy, man. You're crazy. I like you.
I do.
You're crazy.
You're insane, Evan. You're absolutely nuts. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I started to
No,
interrupt.
I just think part of the narrative that Kerr was pushing about Kuminga is to this, right? Is quietly suggesting that there's bad decision making, that there's low basketball IQ, that there are things like this, and these are things that really easily fall into, frankly, racist tropes, and I just don't think are exactly what you see on the court when you watch Kuminga play, and you actually break down, the chain of events and why he is where he is. When you have fucking Podziemski in front of him, flying into the stands trying to stop a 3-pointer of someone that's 7 inches taller than him and having no shot at it, and then now Kuminga's got to make up for that. Yeah, sometimes he might not look like he's able to guard 2 people at once or whatever, So this is. We don't have to get into full like Kuminga apologia, but I do think it's way overstated that he doesn't have basketball IQ. I think his basketball IQ is actually pretty high.
Wholeheartedly agree. To me, it's one of the most disingenuous critiques you can levy onto Kuminga, is that he has a low IQ. That is just utterly asinine. I have never seen any inkling indicating that. That is an opinion solely based, again, on Steve Kerr's decisions. Like, you're just literally like, as a puppet, going, "Oh, Steve Kerr, you don't think Kuminga should play? I will agree with anything you say, sir." Yeah. Like, just think independently. All right, just try and observe things without the influence of Steve Kerr's decisions. And I know that's not always going to be easy, but at least just try, please. I beg you.
You want the real
cleverly
Steve
don't
Kerr
in our
hot
chat
take?
fasting. Yaxel started at 17 years old. He didn't start at 17. He played high school ball since his freshman year. He actually developed point guard skills because he was a late bloomer in terms of height. So A, that's not even a true statement. And B, Kuminga playing all his life. I don't know at what age he started playing in the Democratic Republic of Congo, but he came here in the U.S. when he was a 14-year-old and was playing high school ball since then. And then starting at 17, just sat on his ass as his coach benched him. So I just don't think it's fair that the amount of criticism on Kuminga, considering his coach invested zero energy to developing him, zero energy to or time to invest in him, none. That's the coach that you just want to bend over for and whose ass you want to kiss. It's insanity, dude. And again, this is gaslighting. Everything in this chat I always read about Kuminga is gaslighting nonsense. Bullshit you folks are making up so that you can believe, so that you can maybe substantiate what you believe. Not true. Cleverly. I'm not trying to be a dick here, but this is not true. Sorry. You have something to say, Evan.
My hottest basketball take of all time is actually that Steve Kerr has low basketball IQ.
It's not hot to me, but I hear what you're saying. To the industry,
it's at least in terms of basketball as it's played now. A lot for a lot of people, the heavy critique about Kerr, as we've discussed on the show, it's not that he's never known ball. It's not that he's never been a good coach. I mean, people might disagree about that, but it's that the game's changed since since the early Warriors dynasty run, right? The game has completely changed as a result, right? This is a phenomenon that happens all the time in sports, right? Somebody comes in, they get a certain type of player, they get a certain type of scheme, they get whatever, and it is at the vanguard of thought at the time, right? Motion offense, ton of wings, ton of shooters. Let's spread the floor like crazy. We got the greatest shooter of all time on the court. Let's facilitate him as much as we can. And then that proves effective, and the rest of the teams, one, adapt it into their offensive schemes, and two, have spent 10, 15 years learning how to defend against that. And then so now to act like Kerr's coaching ability, his sense of the game and all that is as good as it was then is a joke, I think. And not only that, he's not even doing what he did then. His version of basketball is a reduced version of what he was doing then, partly because of the personnel decisions that he's made or supported, right? Like, before we get into the GMs hire the people, whatever, like he decides who he puts on the court, and he's put a team on the court of really short people, of mostly guards, of people who can't defend. And he's done that in service of like a very reductionist take on what his original basketball philosophy was when he joined the Warriors. So I don't know, like it's crazy. It's crazy to act like skills can diminish. And especially when you gain power and you think that you're right because it comes from you, it's really easy for your skills to get dull. And I think that's what's happened to her, is his skills have gotten dull, but he's right. He's right because he's him and because he's got all the championships. He's done all the things. It's like, nah, man, like you need to adjust. The league has caught up to you. It's time for you to adjust.
And for again, the endless skeptics who just will refuse to accept truth here. Like again, Azabio 2026 writing, then why do the Atlanta Hawks not want him? A, we don't know if they don't want him. They just don't want to pay him whatever his team option was this season. But B, more importantly, the guy deciding that is this dude right here. Onzi, what the hell's his last name? Onzi, whatever his name is. This is Steve Kerr's buddy right here. This is the guy who runs the Hawks. And so because Steve Kerr and this guy, for whatever reason, don't value Kuminga, like you're just going to assume that means Kuminga's a bad player? Come on, man. Why am I saying come on, man? I got a Charles Barkley sound effect for that now. Charles Barkley, who has said it himself, side note, on the record.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. I mean, what are we doing here? Like, why does this guy and Steve Kerr dictate reality to you? I mean, come on, man.
Come on, man.
I mean, give me a break here. Like, just think independently for once in your life. Like, stop assuming like these people like are the Onzi Sala. Thank you. Sorry, thank you to the chat.
Yeah.
Stop pretending just because Onzi Sala, again, who is Steve Kerr's buddy, is listening to his dumbass coach Quinn Snyder instead of I think teams are blowing it. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, and that leads to Joe Lacob, by the way, who's did an interview a couple days ago. Nice transition, and he was asked about again, this is, I love this because again, this is someone I'm guessing who's new to the program. Now he brings up the 4 rings. You know who else has 4 rings as a coach? And 12 when you combine coach and player. Casey Jones of the Boston Celtics. Dude won his rings because he had Larry Bird and company playing for him. He got 3 of the rings there. One of the rings he was with the Lakers for that Jerry West, Will Chamberlain team. No one in their right mind pretends Casey Jones is some genius head coach, even though he has 4 rings as a coach, because he rode coattails. Respect the talent. Respect, side note, the front office whiz who put together this stacked team so it's for Steve Kerr to roll in where he can just eat avocado toast with bacon on it, take naps, and watch Stephen Curry lead the team to a championship. Eselbio, do you have a Casey Jones poster hanging on the ceiling of your bedroom? I don't think you do. The 4 rings thing is so disingenuous, dude. Like, oh,
you guys.
Anyways,
for those who are skeptical of what we're saying and are really here caping for Kerr and 4 rings and stuff, like, just in general, do you listen to what people in authority say and just assume that they're correct?
Exactly.
Like, well, that's correct in their assessment, and it's obviously without beyond any critique. I feel like that's a strange way to look at the world.
Cleverly Doan, who is writing, Casey Jones is known as an exceptional coach. No, he's not. He got fired from the Seattle Supersonics after he got nudged out of the Celtics because he was doing what Steve Kerr does. He just managed. And we've played the clip countless times where Gary Payton said in an interview that Casey Jones was not there to actually invest in his players, and the Sonics wisely shit-canned his ass, brought in George Karl, and that team ended up going to the NBA Finals and having a hell of a run in the 90s. They got no rings because it was during the Michael Jordan era. I also want to emphasize this very clearly, as Sabios, who writes, really, you're all going to take Kuminga over Kerr? I will always, 10 times out of 10, take the talent over the coach. Let me ask you this. If Jerry West was still running the Warriors, do you really think he'd take Kerr over the talent? Like for all the people who sit here and praise Jerry West as being the mastermind behind the start of the Warriors dynasty, even though Jerry West did not draft Stephen Curry, you really think Jerry West, who values talent above all else, would just sit idly by watching Kerr roll out 4 point guard lineups, watch Kerr play Anthony Lamb over Jonathan Kuminga, watch Kerr play Corey Joseph and Ty Jerome over Moses Moody? Come on, man. What are we doing here? And again, I need Charles.
Come on, man.
I mean, come on, man. What are we
Come
doing
on, man.
here? Don't take the coach over the talent. That is not smart. Come on now. On that note,
that's the crux of the whole point of naming the show. Sprewell was right.
Because Sprewell choked
as
that
Mondo
coach out.
always says, you gotta pick the talent over the coach, man.
Look at this Esibio just dying on this hill, saying Kuminga's not LeBron James. Who the hell said he was? But Kuminga was a number 7 pick in a deep-ass draft, and we still don't know what the hell he is. For one reason, Steve Kerr. A guy you still blame. A guy who, side note, if he was the coach you think he is, the Warriors would have at least 5 championships by now, not 4.
Yeah,
but the bottom line,
he got outcoached in the year this Kerr got outcoached in the year they blew the 3-1 lead against the Cavs.
That too.
That's
that too. And I'm currently writing Evan my next piece. The headline of the story: when Steve Kerr's gut went wrong, and it's turning into a long ass piece, and that's going to be a whole show. But yeah, it's because Steve Kerr infamously said in an interview once, he was asked, like how do you make your big important decisions in life? And his response was, I listen to my gut. And that's another instance that you brought up, the 3-1 deficit, man. He listened to his gut, and his gut failed him, man. His gut fails him a lot, dude. It's insanity. Yeah, Andres Million, this is the only reason why Steve Kerr exists. Steve Kerr did not even coach before he got that job. Like, what the hell did Steve Kerr do to even be the head coach of the Warriors? The only reason he got that job is because Phil Jackson wanted him. And then the Warriors had an opening because Mark Jackson is horrible at PR and is not a corporate guy and he says some stupid shit behind the scenes. But it's craziness, dude. It's just crazy. Like the deference for Steve Kerr. Congrats, you're part of that population where like the cult of personality can brainwash you. Bravo. Just be critical in your thinking, please. I beg. Joe Lacob was asked, by the way, about that draft, the 2 drafts, which to this day still haunt Dub Nation. And let's play those real fast. Let's play that clip. No, that's not Omzi. I want Omzi. We had our fun with you. Here's Joe Lacob. Joe Lacob was with Tim Kawakami, and I saved this clip for today's show. This is how we're going to wrap it up. He was asked about the Wiseman pick and the Kuminga pick. Very important thing to remember with the Wiseman pick, and Joe Lacob is going to emphasize this in just a second. Everybody was on board. All right. Here, I'll even when we're done with this clip, I'm going to read a passage regarding the Wiseman pick, so people have a better understanding that as to who was directly responsible for that pick. It wasn't just Lacob. Bob Myers, if you want to say that the Wiseman pick was a blemish on his resume, fair, but you also have to remember that draft took place in November. Evan, do you remember that? The 2020 draft took place in November because the world had gone to shit in a pandemic. So people couldn't even like scout these guys. There was no March Madness to scout these guys. Tyrese Halliburton was, it seemed to be someone everyone wanted, but his shooting stroke was so awkward. People were afraid to spend a top 3 pick on him. In hindsight, a bad move, but what are you going to do? Yeah, it's just, and Steve Kerr wanted James Wiseman badly. After this clip, I'm going to read a passage further substantiating the fact that James Wiseman was just as much a Steve Kerr pick as it was a Bob Myers and a Joe Lacob pick. Anyways, let's listen to Joe Lacob, who was asked again about the draft picks. And then Evan, you and I will talk about it to wrap up the show. Here was Joe Lacob with Kawakami talking about Wiseman and Kuminga.
You look at the draft over history, just go back and look at even the second pick, but any of these picks over, 5 or 10 year period, you're going to see a lot of them aren't even in the league anymore. It's just hard. These are human beings. They don't quite always work out as we analyze them. And look, I hate to say this. I love Wiseman's a nice kid and everything, but the pick it didn't work out. We have to take responsibility for that. We were unanimous in that. Everyone liked him a lot, but it didn't work out, and we have to take responsibility. We missed on that, no question. I would not say that's true about, as an example, we haven't had many picks in the top 10. Moody wasn't even in the top 10. He was a lottery pick. He's worked out by statistical standards. If you look at is he a superstar? No. Maybe, is there someone at the history, certain players have gone at 15 and been stars? Yeah, all right, we didn't get that, but he's certainly a very good player, and until this injury, certainly accelerating in his career arc, if you will. I do not view Jonathan Kuminga as a mistake. I think we may have made some mistakes in how we handled it and how he handled it. Maybe he made some mistakes, and obviously that's well documented, and we had to move on. But he's an NBA player and played the playoffs and did really well, and it's not a mistake at the 7th pick. There are 7th picks that are out of the league. So I'd say we blew that 2nd pick. And unfortunately, that was the most important one. And I wish we hadn't, obviously. But we're not perfect. No means are we perfect. We've done a really good job on other draft picks much later. We haven't had a lot of picks in the lottery because we've been very good, as we've discussed earlier. So it's a statistical thing to some extent. I wish we could hit them all perfectly, but nobody does. If you look at the draft,
and he is right that nobody hits it 100% of the time. The Wiseman pick. I want to. First of all, any reaction to that, Evan? Before I read this one final passage.
Go ahead and read the passage, and I'll respond after all.
Okay. This is some further context for the Wiseman pick, because again, the general consensus seems to be that this was Lacob's failing because he loves bigs. People love to blame Bob Myers for this pick, and maybe he deserves it to a certain extent. But let me read this passage to you so you folks can have some added context regarding what went down. I'll read this verbatim. While the general and an accurate assumption among Warriors fans is that Golden State Warriors owner Joe Lacob was solely responsible for drafting James Wiseman with the number 2 pick in the 2020 NBA draft. Steve Kerr was enamored with the inexperienced big and played a heavy influence in advocating for Wiseman. Steve Kerr called Wiseman, quote unquote, his draft pick and spent hours studying film, not just of Wiseman's college games, but even a performance in high school at the 2019 Hoop Summit. Kerr said he was convinced in June 2020 that Wiseman was, again, quote unquote, his draft pick, using verbiage normally reserved for a general manager, given a GM's responsibilities include making NBA draft selections. Steve Kerr held a Zoom meeting with Wiseman, followed that with an in-person workout in Miami, again, during the pandemic. Kerr was also directly involved with 8 or 9 other draft prospects, including Anthony Edwards, who, side note, Steve Kerr called lazy. And side note, the Timberwolves were offering the Warriors a pick swap that the Warriors turned down, largely because Steve Kerr thought he was, again, lazy. Quote, you just rarely see an athlete like James. You rarely see a guy 7 feet tall who moves like that with that kind of coordination and hands and character. He was a leader in the clubhouse. And then it was a matter of really making sure we watched all the other guys and evaluated everybody. And the other guys were impressive too. I mean, Ball, Edwards, they really stood out, obviously. I think the whole league had those 3 guys as the top 3. Everybody probably always says this, but I can tell you without hesitation, James was the top guy all along, unquote. Let me read this one passage again. Quote, he was a leader in the clubhouse, Steve Kerr said, unquote. These are Steve Kerr's words. Again, he failed as the Suns GM. He was the GM of the Suns from 2007 to 2010.
Trash.
That team went to shit under his tenure. Yet so many of you worship this guy like he's like a basketball genius. It's crazy. Anyways, yeah. Evan, go take it away.
Okay, I think I have a few comments on this. One, I think this what you just read is part of the insight that or gives insight to some of the discussion we were having about Brandon Podziemski earlier. I think in a lot of ways, Brandon Podziemski is like the Ant Edwards, right? Edwards, super confident, super physically skilled, very talented. And if you have any hint of like, hey, this guy seems entitled and or lazy, I don't want him on my team, right? And if you look at Pods, he's the opposite, right? I mean, he's definitely entitled, but he is a hard worker. He has talked about trying to take leadership. He doesn't have all the skills in the world. I think in a lot of ways, he reminds him of himself when he played, you know, that he's got to work harder than everybody else and do all those things. And I think you get a little bit of that going on with Kerr, right? Like looking for the,
well said,
the, not necessarily the athletic talent, but the kind of slept on hard worker who is a little bit of an underdog. But if we get to Wiseman, you know, it's really easy to kind of have a revisionist history take on Wiseman as though like everybody knew he was bad and it was obvious that this was foisted upon Kerr. But if you look at the minutes in the same way that Kerr is incredibly reluctant or has shown incredible reluctance to play Kuminga with the starters or in meaningful minutes, he did the opposite. Like he played the shit out of Wiseman as soon as he could. You know, he really believed in him and he showed that on the floor. He put him on the floor with the starters. He put him on the floor in meaningful minutes early as much as he could. And if it wasn't for, you know, injury things and really just for the fact that Wiseman just wasn't up to snuff, he would have been the guy. Like there's no, so when we get into this conversation, and now I'm just echoing stuff that Armando has said, when we get into the conversation about whether Kerr does or doesn't develop young guys, it's not true. Like Kerr's backed away from it now because it hasn't worked well, but he actively developed Wiseman. He actively tried to put him on the floor. He actively tried to make sure he had run in summer league. He actively tried to make sure he was surrounded by people who were going to elevate his gameplay. And that is a fundamentally different approach than he did with Kuminga, with Moody. I think even with Guy until later Guy, with Trace. But it is what he does with Brandon Podziemski. He puts him around the best players on the team. He tries to put him in situations where he's going to thrive. He still doesn't, but that's a different story. But I just want to be clear on this, on this narrative that Steve Kerr is making decisions here that have contributed to Warriors' losses. He has shown poor talent assessment. And so, you could be a pro Steve Kerr guy or not, or whatever, but like, let's not pretend he hasn't put his weight behind young players when he believes in them. And the players that he's put his weight behind have not been good. And the players that he keeps kind of throttling back, not that they're all, great, but I do think Moody should have had more play. I think Trace should have had more play, even if it was just to figure a little bit more out about Trace. And I think Kuminga obviously should have had way more play. So
Richard last year is
Steve Kerr alone. Oh my God.
Will Richard last year is another example. A guy who, like, one of his first games ever drops 30 points and gets rewarded with like a DNP right after that. You're absolutely right, dude. He does arbitrarily develop certain players that in his mind he thinks deserve it. But again, what my critique of him has always been, he is awful at player evaluation, and that's case in point, man. Like, Brandon Podziemski is the one young player he likes. It really, of all these draft picks that have rolled through your organization, he's the one that you're playing favorites with. And by the way, Evan, bravo on that soliloquy you just got. Very well said. Very well said. One last paid chat here, and then we'll go. Julian, again, who's drinking and donating. Thank you. I mean,
I appreciate you, Julian.
I'm trying to look out for you, but I appreciate you, brother, so much. Dropping $5 more, saying from January 1st to March 31st of 2024, 3-month span, 39 games. Kuminga averaged 30 minutes per game. Is this true? This is the first time I'm seeing this stat. 30 minutes per game, 19 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, shot 54% from the field. That's very good. 34% from 3, passable. 78% from the free throw line, good. Not great, but good. Warriors record was 22-17. Kuminga's plus minus net rating plus 109. Even though I don't like that stat, but we'll go with it here. You don't bench that. Wholeheartedly agree. I think this ultimately still, and I'm so sorry that this show turned into another Kuminga discussion, but I still wholeheartedly believe that this really comes down to is Kuminga spoke out publicly when he got benched in the second half of that game against the Nuggets, the one that the Warriors blew less than 2 years after their title. Kerr and his ego could not handle a player speaking out publicly against them, and it's just been a story of vindictiveness and pettiness and just Kerr being butthurt by that ever since. And we fast forward to today. And again, that's the person that so many of you want to worship, is someone who just cannot handle one person pushing back. And I got to read this passage again. This was from the guy from ESPN. What the hell is his name? Do you remember his name? The writer who did the whole profile piece on Kerr?
I missed it.
This past season. What the hell's his name, man? It's God damn it. Well, I think Evan's looking it up while I quickly read this passage.
Let's see.
That was his name, dude. Anyways, Steve Kerr. There was a passage written.
I'm seeing his face now. I know who you're talking about. What's his name?
He's got like 2 first names as for his name. And again, I have this passage in front of me forever, queued up. This was an actual passage from the Steve Kerr profile piece written by I can't remember his name. I'm brain.
Tell us in the chat. Why can't I think of his name, guys? Whatever.
Did the chat come through yet on the name? No, nobody cares about that guy.
It kills me because I probably wouldn't have forgot until you said that you forgot. And then as soon as you forgot, I was like, yeah, I don't know his name either. And now I'm looking at his face in my head and I can't think of his name. God damn it.
And by the way, Farron says that we're Steve Kerr haters. If I was a Steve, look, I don't hate Steve Kerr. It's like hate's a strong word. I'm just very critical of the fact that the Bay Area media kisses his ass. I don't respect that. If I was not the only show actually criticizing his many ridiculous decisions, I would not be so harsh. The fact that I'm the only one, I feel like I'm put in this spot where it's like, why am I the only one? Like that's the part that really is revolting to me. It's a societal thing from my perspective, where just one guy, because he's charming, because he looks the part and speaks the part, and then the four rings, like you got to pay attention to nuance to understand how little he was responsible for that. But just the subservience, the sycophancy, that's the part I despise. Like somebody he makes nearly $20 million a year. He's a poster child of privilege, and he's an egomaniac. And so many of you just continually give him a pass, despite 4 point guard lineups, despite no young players developed under his watch, despite having Stephen Curry and I use that word only, winning 4 championships when they should have won at least 5. Hell, 6 should have been the better term. And yet so many of you just worship this guy. Live a little so you can be impressed by more, please. All right? Don't let mediocrity impress you. It's absurd. Did you ever get the name for that writer, by the way?
No, but it's okay. With Kerr, my question is just like,
ESPN.
what does it take for people to turn on Kerr, right? Like, he's delivered a team playing a team that has the greatest shooter in the history of the game, maybe the greatest offensive player in the history of the game, if we want to have that conversation. Like, at some point, you've run out of people to blame. You've blamed Kuminga, you've blamed Draymond, you've blamed Lacob. People are now blaming Dunleavy. I'm seeing the Light Years boys are ready to say that they're out on Dunleavy, right? It's everyone but Steve Kerr, the coach of the team, who decides who is in the game for how many minutes, who decides what players get run, who decides what offense is being played and what defense is being played, who has scared off a GM, who's scared off a president of basketball, who has several, by the way, there are several pros who have been on, players who have been on the team that have left, who have said like, Curry isn't it for me, right? Like we know Durant isn't a big Kerr fan. We know that these players who have played with him in Olympic ball, which by the way, like, the only reason the Warriors, the USA won the Olympics this last time is because Curry had to do superhero bailout mode to win with that team. So like, I'm genuinely curious. And he's the highest paid coach in the league. You're right, Julian. Like, at what point do you just go, maybe the coach needs to answer some real questions about why this team isn't doing as well as we had hoped for what was supposed to be this big dynasty. And listen, you can say he has 4 championships. You could grant him everything that he's ever, we'll say he's achieved with the Warriors. But I mean, at some point, like anybody else, do you start making bad decisions, or does your, do you start falling out of step with the league? Is your talent losing its ability? Even if you want to grant him that he had all the talent in the world, right? Like, it's just, we've been watching things go downhill for this team for a very long time, and we've pointed the finger at everybody except for Kerr and Curry. And Curry will be the last holdout. I understand that. I think that's reasonable. I think he is the number one reason for the success of the team. But you're running out of people to blame. Are you going to blame Yaxel next for not being the Messiah that they hoped was going to save everything? Like, who's left? Who's left? At some point, you got to just actually take a critical look at Steve Kerr and go, maybe, perhaps we could consider that some of his decision-making hasn't been optimal. Maybe.
just possibly, just at least just consider it. Just for a sec.
Yeah, I agree with the Mike Brown, right? As noted in the chat by Mark.
Wholeheartedly.
Mike Brown goes and we try to act like he was washed, and then we got Mike Brown winning the finals. Like, come on, like, what are we doing? You have to be able to critique the coach. This is the only franchise in the entire league where you can't critique the coach. It's exactly. So silly.
It is. It's insane, and I do believe strongly that his politics play a huge part of it. Except for people like Barber in our chat, who again, there's that sect of the populace who just falls for the cult of personality shit because Barber in our chat loves Donald Trump and Steve Kerr, complete opposite ends of the ideological spectrum. But the one thing they have in common: cult of personality. If you're one of those people, read some books. Just do whatever you can to better understand what critical thinking is, so you don't get duped by charlatans. Someone in the KKS in our chat writes, nailed it. It was Wright Thompson, a guy who with a name like that should be driving in NASCAR. Wright Thompson wrote in a profile piece on May 14th, 2026, quote, Steve Kerr remembered with longing the ease of his first season with the team when he'd do yoga on home game days. Then he'd eat a bacon and avocado sandwich from Summer Kitchen in Berkeley. Then he'd take a nap. Then go beat the dog shit out of every team who had the misfortune of rolling into town. Now, he called his wife from the road as he navigated the fragile locker room. This is the most confusing time I've ever had in my 11 and a half years, Steve Kerr told his wife. I've never had anything like this. Unquote. The horror. Evan, I'm sure you could write. I'm sure
I have to coach.
Evan, as a Hollywood scriptwriter, I'm sure you could write the most riveting drama imaginable on this paragraph. You could have a show on HBO based a basketball coach. He used to have the easiest life ever, and you can see the trailer. He's eating his bacon avocado toast. He's taking a nap. He's like going for a walk in the affluent part of Berkeley. And then fast forward to today, where he's like hiding in a hotel room in the corner, his thumbs in his mouth, and he's calling his wife. He's like, "Honey, I got this one player that just won't kiss my ass, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do." Is that not a fantastic Hollywood production or what?
I think that makes a great proof of concept short film right there. I think that is
all right. Evan, promote it.
I was gonna be crazy. I will actually hold that one back. I have people in this industry I can't disappoint. So
thank you. Yeah, save yourself. Yeah, don't hurt yourself. Anything you want to mention before we go? Great effing show, brother. Thank you for joining me. And again, until you're ready to come back, Evan, if you're down for it, I will have you every Friday while Armando is on sabbatical. Look, we all deserve sabbaticals.
Indeed.
You're just keeping his seat warm. And then when he does come back, we'll come up with a new name, and you're part of this now. I might be too late for you, brother. You might be handcuffed to this, but promote away for now at least. What do you have going on? Socials, anything you want to mention, please do.
Oh, there's nothing amazing to mention. It's I'm right now I'm enjoying watching the Valkyries. I think they are super fun, really exciting basketball. If you guys like ball, if you like scheme, if you like disciplined play, man, the Valkyries are super fun. But yeah, other than that, man, I'm just staying writing and I'm staying pitching, and I'm happy to engage with the guys on the socials. And at some point, I'm sure Armando and I will do a Spiro was right episode.
Yeah.
Maybe leading into the season. And when time permits, I'm happy to come back on here and join you, man.
Like I said, your seat's open. We're gonna do a happy hour every Friday, no matter what. I'd much rather have you sitting in that chair until the professor is back. So that invite's open, man, and you can think about it, or you can tell me no or yes right now, whatever you want to do. But that offer's on the table. I wish it paid. I'm not there yet. That's where Sunrun, who I did not mention once on this show, besides a quick tease at the beginning, will go a long ways for this program and for yourself. Friendly reminder, the promo right now, $500 in your pocket, Venmo, Visa gift card, whatever the methodology of that payment is, that's your preference. We roll with that simply to put solar on your home. No cost up front. No hard credit checks. If your credit blows, not a big deal. If you're worried about dings on your credit from applying, you don't have to worry about that either. On average, Americans saw a 14% increase in their electricity bill this past season. With Sunrun, there are no increases. Your rate is flat because you're getting all your electricity from that huge star that shines on our planet every day. It's called the sun. Take advantage of that. Stop being ripped off. Start saving money today and put money in your pocket. And if you know someone who does not have solar panels on their roof and you're not a homeowner yourself, put their information in by clicking on that link. They get 500 bones as part of the promo, and you get $500. Don't worry about liens on your property. All the negatives that used to plague the solar industry years back are gone. This is the straight and narrow. There's no negative here. If you think of a negative for putting solar panels on your home and doing it with Sunrun, bring it up. If there's any reason that you don't think you're ready for it, talk to your Uncle Cy, and I'll address those concerns. But you got to start simply by entering your information right there. Thanks, everybody. Evan, thank you, brother. Again, people can follow you on Threads at Evanistics, and have a wonderful weekend. Are we done? Are we good?
I think we're good. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you.
All right, brother. All right. And that is the great Evan Ball. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Back soon. Bye-bye.